primarily focusing on mainstream media and CNN and the obvious agenda that they're pushing on this.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a look at how they talk down to people who are Republicans. Now, again, they were supposed to have put on this event for Republicans in New Hampshire. And let's take a look at how they actually treat them in this. Not the town hall, but like the post group where they ask questions. What the hell is that called?
The focus group.
Focus group. Yes, thank you. Let's take a look at that.
Anderson, 8 people were with. They were in the audience. What they also have in common is none of them have voted in the past for either Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. 6 of them voted for Donald Trump in the past. 1 didn't vote in the past 2 elections. 1 was too young to vote. But that's what they have in common, that most of them are Trump supporters. What I want to ask you first of all is, do you think, show of hands, anybody think Donald Trump looks better after this town hall? Any of you think he looks worse? Any of you think the same thing about him as you did when you walked in? So all of you feel that way. First thing I want to ask you about, Donald Trump, we have to be blunt about it, is not a truth teller. That's the way he's always been when he was a businessman, when he's been a politician. He has lied about the 2020 election, stuffed ballot boxes, it's all made up. He's lost dozens of court cases. Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked him the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
So don't you think he could say it's time for me to start talking about 2024 and not lies that aren't true?
Couldn't the media ask him a question about 2024?
Well, there were questions, but you're right, that was the first thing, but that's something that was on our mind, and that's why I was asked first. Mike McLaughlin, he's 21. He is undeclared, which is what you do in New Hampshire if you want to be independent, but he voted for Trump in 2020. Mike, same thing to you. What do you feel about Trump continuing to talk about those mistruths from 2020?
Personally, I'm getting tired of hearing about it. I'm very much more so interested in the problems that we face now, and I would prefer to hear him discuss the present issues more so than going to the past.
65-year-old Stephen Farnsworth, Republican, voted for Trump twice. Your opinion about that?
Well, I think that he's committed to it. That's what he feels. That's what he thinks.
Well, do you think he thinks that, or do you think he just keeps saying it to try to will it for people like you to believe it?
No, I think he actually thinks it.
You do?
No, he may.
Even though he keeps losing in the courts over and over again.
He does say what's on his mind.
Okay. Do you think so? That it was a rigged election?
I'll abstain.
Your feeling about this?
I think it's time to move on from the election, the 2020 election.
Do his fibs offend you?
I think he truly believes it.
You do too?
I think that's what he truly believes. I think a lot of his supporters believe it. Not all of them, but there are a lot of people who do believe it, and he tries to, go along with that, and I would agree that he wills it to be true.
Let me ask 22-year-old Cooper Walsh, who is also undeclared but voted for Trump in 2020. Do you think Trump believes that stuff?
I definitely do think he believes it. I think he's very passionate about it, or else he probably wouldn't still be talking about it. But I think that it's time for him to move on. He needs to talk about what he's going to accomplish in 2024. And I also think the media shouldn't have focused on the huge segment on the 2020 issue. We already know what he thinks about it. I think we should be talking about more of the other issues that the questions had in the audience.
But would it be helpful, Karen Olson, who's 56, she's undeclared, not registered Republican or Democrat, but voted for Trump twice. Wouldn't it be good if he would just say, I'm ready to move on. It's 2024, I'm going to stop lying, I'm going to be honest about it, and move on. Wouldn't that be helpful? And then the news media wouldn't ask him about it if he would acknowledge it.
I'd like him to move on. I would like him to stop talking about it, but it is his opinion. So you have to attach that caveat, lie all the time. It just keeps it going. So it's his opinion, and he has a right to have it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also the way he. It's like, dude, who are you trying to convince, man? Yourself, or everybody? You're gonna everybody has the same response to this, and it's just like, dude, stop, just stop. Again, if you're trying to get people, don't ram it down their throats.
Yes.
Because again, these people are not idiots. These people understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's just so blatant. And good for the first guy for pushing back and was like, oh yeah, well, something on our mind. Why is it still on your mind? Why is it? Okay. You could easily just do what you were supposed to do and just ask questions about this, but they don't want to do that because this is it's a red herring. It's built for the GOP in New Hampshire for people, voters there, but all the questions and things they talked about were all Democratic points to get their Democratic base riled up.
Yes.
So you see what the Republicans are doing?
But-
You have to come out and vote. Vote for the dead man, Biden, because otherwise this Trump guy is coming back. 'Cause we all know what's going to happen if he comes back. It's going to be 4 more years of hell.
See, you know what I find really interesting is that Republican voters are really not as dumb as CNN obviously thinks they are.
That
And
is
B,
evident.
And B, they really, like, they would never, ever talk to a Democrat like that. So, for instance, right?
No, hold on a minute. They would do the opposite. They would
Yes.
coddle. There's
Yes.
difference. This is the test.
Yes.
The testament. But with the Democrats, it would be the same message, but switched around to coddling.
Uh-huh.
Don't you agree? Doesn't he lie? Right? You agree with me? He lies, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does lie. He does lie. I think he's the worst. He's like Satan. It's like that's what you would get, but the opposite. You see what I'm saying?
But they would never. They would. Okay, take.
Even trying to say his name makes me want to vomit in the toilet.
This is
Come on, man.
never how This is never how CNN would treat Democrats. So, for instance,
I don't even think Fox News would treat Democrats badly.
not this contemptuously. But
That's the thing. That's the thing.
So yeah. See, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Joe Biden, right? Over the Easter egg hunt or whatever at the White House last month or last week, whatever. He goes on and he claims that he has 6 grandchildren. No reporter would ever have pushed back on him like they pushed back on Trump and been like, Joe, you actually have 7, the illegitimate daughter of a stripper that your son had on a coke rampage.
I mean,
that you still to this day
they don't
refuse to acknowledge.
They don't even ask where he is. Hey, where's the president? We don't know. As long as he's asleep.
But the point is, they would never ever. That was one example of a clear case where Joe Biden was lying by not acknowledging a grandchild he has, and but they never pushed back on him. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, he lies. He lies. Do you know Joe Biden's lying?" And Joe Biden pathologically lies.
There's no point in getting mad about it because it just is the reality of the world.
Yeah.
Again, the reason why we are highlighting any of this is so that ideally you who are listening or watching can understand that you cannot just trust these organizations.
No, you can't.
Cannot
you
watch
really
this shit.
Cannot.
You can't. You should watch it, and the way you need to watch it is through the lens of being critical of it and looking for how are they talking to fellow citizens and things like this, and trying to figure out what is the agenda behind everything. Not to say that, I mean, as human beings, we all have agendas. We all have things we're trying to accomplish.
We all have biases.
We hear. I mean, T and I have biases. We have ways that we think. I mean, we try to be fairly open-minded, but nobody really ever changes their core beliefs on things. That's just a fact. But if you're at least open to hearing about facts and evidence and things like this, sometimes you might be willing to change your mind. I try to keep myself as open as possible, and I hope that whoever's listening to this, you do as well, as you should, because nothing is absolute in this world, and everything, the way we've set up our society and our civilization, there are powers that be that are behind a lot of these elements and things. FYI, reasons why Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson were fired from these types of organizations.
Yeah.
Once you start pulling the layers of the onion back too many times, you start to see the rotten core at the center. People want to hide like the great powerful Oz behind the curtain again. So you have to. We show you these things about the Trump thing. One, to make fun of Trump and everything that's coming out, just to expose the hypocrisy, to expose these things. But the general underlying message, again, from our channel, and the purpose of this is to let's have an open conversation about what's actually going on. Let's investigate the actual source material. Let's not rely on what other things are telling us, because it used to be back in the day you could trust those sources. You could trust the journalists who are doing the actual investigation that you, a working person, don't have time to do on your own. Because, hey, my guess is you're just trying to live your life and pay your bills and support your family. You didn't choose potentially a profession of being a journalist or a researcher or anything like this. But nowadays, the only way to be an informed citizen is by basically giving yourself an adjunct professorship in journalism. Because otherwise, you're just going to be fed a bunch of bullshit. And it's going to be fed to you by the big fat man who's got the airplane coming in. Oh, who wants the big bullshit coming in from the airplane? And you're like, I read it. And the story of today is Trump bad. It's like, yes, he's not the greatest person, but he's not as terrible as everybody makes out to be. And you know what? Not Joe Biden's pretty bad, but but not all Democrats are. Not all Democrats are. There's lots of really good Democrats. There's lots of really good liberals. They just want the country to be strong, just like everybody else. And it's all of us that need to get together and go, what the hell is going on? We need to seriously get this shit sorted out.
Yeah.
And I think most people are thinking that and are like that. And we keep getting the noises from the polar ends that are influencing all of this shit. And it's just becoming annoying. And this is blatant examples of it. This dude in his weird suit rocking back and forth in front of the guy. What was he trying to do? Should be like, look, underneath my pants here is my penis, and sometimes I don't think I have it. I wish it wasn't there some days, but it's here today, and so now can you see it through my pants? Because I'm trying to tell you, he's a liar. He's a liar, pal. Oh, don't you believe me? And the guy's like, no, I don't, dude. Why are you talking like a weird person? Just be a regular dude. Be a regular dude. Talk to me like I'm an intelligent human being, and let's just have a conversation and some discourse. But instead, they're just trying to hammer down a message on him.
Yes.
And this is what most of the mainstream, and this also goes for Fox News. Okay, nobody is spared in this. All MSM, anything. There are, and I should say, there are still some good journalists, and like even the New York Times or Washington Post. I've seen some articles where I'm like, huh. All right, a few of them slipped through the cracks.
Yeah,
they're going to be out there and go soon, but a few of them are still there.
The shame is, and you make exactly a good point, because so for example, on Peacock, they have an excellent show, a film about how these New York Times journalists broke the Harvey Weinstein story. And you watch it and you're like, yes, this is amazing journalism. I just wish that you applied it equally. The same talent and passion and research that you put in to revealing Harvey Weinstein and his antics over the past 30 or 40 years, I wish that you would also apply that to looking into Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and his family's 20 LLCs and $10 million from China shipped through it, as you put into researching every possible sexual or business scenario Donald Trump has ever been in.